All right, everyone. The other day, Trump came out and said literally bye-bye. He's like, fuck it, essentially, with regards to the shutdown negotiations. And here's the thing. In order to have negotiations, you have to be negotiating. Trump has come in and said, well, yeah, let's discuss this. Let's get it done, get the government back up and running. The Democrats' only line so far for days now has been, well, then just reopen the government, sign the bill that we're fronting. No, we're not giving you a penny for the wall. That's not negotiating. That's saying, hey, we're going to have 100% of what we want. Then we'll discuss giving you maybe something down the road. But the thing is, and Trump is aware of this. He's not dumb. He knows that they don't actually plan to ever fund the wall. Even some of the Republicans don't want to do that. So he's just putting the screws to him and saying, fuck it. I'm going to keep the government shut down for months if necessary. Enjoy. And I already see cracks beginning to appear, and he had to have predicted this. I know he did. The Democrats are beginning to get really nervous. And when Democrats get nervous, they turn on each other. Because what's going to happen? You're about to see something interesting. You saw it this morning with Cher and a few other people. You're about to see people in the left-wing media, left-wing celebrities, the new left, the Cortezes, and the old left, the neoliberals, begin biting one another. It's going to be like a pack of starving dogs. They're not getting their food. They're going to start nibbling at each other. That's what's going to happen. What's going to end up happening is that some Democrats will come begging to the table, just as Trump wants, because they can't deal with the pressure. The pressure on them will mount. They'll begin to attack each other because they'll be worried that someone's going to suffer for this. And Trump will weasel his way out of it. Oh my God, well, I don't want to be the one that ends up taking the blame for keeping the government shut down when people don't get their tax refunds or a check or whatever. They can't go to the national park. They plan their vacation for 6 months. All of these things that are going to happen, they don't want to take the blame. The left-wing media doesn't want to say, oh yeah, we basically helped to engineer this because we were trying to hardball Trump on this issue too. The neoliberals don't want to because, it's not good for business long term. The new left doesn't want to take the blame because they don't take responsibility for anything. And the left-wing celebrities are at liberty to say basically whatever weird shit pops into their head, which is often popping a membrane. And so they're going to begin attacking one another. But what have the Republicans done? They're just sitting there. They're not even discussing the issue. Trump has said, I'm not even going to bother talking about it. You deal with it. You come to terms with the fact that the presidency is not held by the Democratic Party, nor is the Senate, and he does have the votes to block a budget deal. Unless it's really good for the Republicans, but the thing is, the main Republican you're trying to woo on if Trump signaled that he liked a budget deal, every other Republican would sign it. They'd have no problem with it. It's really Trump that has to be wined and dined. If Trump were to signal, okay, I'm okay with this, it'd go through tomorrow. We can reopen the government tomorrow, but you're going to have to actually discuss, this means Schumer and Pelosi, and this is something that they're bad at doing, they need to actually discuss ways to get that done that give Trump something he believes is necessary for national security. I don't personally believe, there's a part of me that believes that maybe part of him wants to declare just a state of emergency and redirect Pentagon funding. That would be long haul, that would really rock the boat, and I think he's more likely to just sit there and keep pressuring. Just keep the government shut down, laugh about it occasionally, and let the Democrats slowly, they'll begin to implode on the issue. That is, what's happened is Pelosi and Schumer are both neoliberals. And they're like, well, we've got the upper hand. Mr. Trump, tear down this shutdown. And it doesn't work because they don't even speak for the majority of the left anymore. They just speak for that neoliberal sort of boring old corporate core. They don't have a mandate with the new left. The celebs are starting to jump off board and side with the new left, which is hilarious. Other than Whoopi Goldberg, apparently, it's just going to be a freak show. You're about to see that. It might take some days or weeks, but the situation for the Democrats will get worse. The situation for Trump can't get worse. It's already rock bottom for him, which is, like a third or two-fifths of the country supports what he's doing, wants the wall, wants him to block this. The Democrats start out with the upper hand, but there's nowhere to go but down. They can't possibly convince any of Trump's core fans or the hard-line conservatives or tradcons that they're justified in what they're doing. They're going to say, look, you're holding everyone hostage over $5 billion. The total budget, how many hundreds of billions are we talking about? Give him the fucking wall funding. Again, pointing out, this is just one of a number of battles that would have to be had because that $5 billion is not going to complete the whole thing. It'll get you several hundred miles of considerably improved border, and it'll upgrade all of the entry facilities and get you some of the electronic equipment. That's a damn good start, but it's not the whole 20 billion or so that it'd cost. I mean, it might be a little less than that. You might be able to cut some corners. You know, there's certain areas that are almost impassable. Put, you know, a regular fence. It'll only be 30 feet tall instead of 40 or something. Be interesting. But it's funny how the legacy media is calling this, oh, it's a Trumper tantrum. He's not getting his way, so he's keeping the... You're asking the person who is elected to do, by many people specifically, what he's suggesting to do now. You're asking him to just say, oh, yeah, fuck it. I'm going to rely upon the other party that thinks that I'm Adolf Hitler to negotiate with me after I give them everything they want. It is not in Trump's nature. That's not a good negotiating strategy. He won't do it, and he would lose if he did. He'd lose so much native support among his own core fans if he were to back down and say, okay, we'll negotiate, I'll talk to Chuck and Nancy afterwards. He'd been talking to them for over a year. Then they never ceded to anything. He got one little tiny bit of funding to improve security at a handful of localities and to hire more staff, and that's pretty much it. Now, Chuck Schumer alluded to, well, we want more border security too. Okay, then, you put your proposal forward. If the Democrats with a straight face want to strangulate the government and say, well, it's because we have a difference of agreement over what form the border security is, like, tell us what your plan is and let the American people decide between what you're suggesting and what Trump is suggesting, which is $5 billion for a wall, more staff. That's what he wants, and a crackdown on sanctuary cities. What does Chuck Schumer then want to do? How would you secure the border further? How would you address the problem of tens of millions of illegal immigrants within this country? The truth is, he has no plan, and so he's not going to tell us a plan. And until he does, I'm siding with Trump on this. Yes, keep the fucking government shut down for years if you have to. It's not going to matter to the average person. People are blowing out of proportion the whole situation anyway. Let the Democrats get more and more pressured, get red in the face, and yell at each other, and do what Democrats do best, and throw each other under the bus, and eventually, at least a few of them will accede to funding the wall. That's about all. Peace out.